Namaste, dear student. You are welcome to an English class of grade 10, Unit 8, Grammar, first and second, Active and Passive. Active and Passive. Dear students, you might have learned about active and passive. How active sentences change into passive one in your previous classes. You may learn changing active sentences into passive one, or sometimes passive sentences into active one from grade 6, 7, 8, even 9 as well. And you have learned various ideas about active and passive. Have you known that? Of course, you have learned the ideas about changing active sentences into passive one. Today, we are going to deal with active and passive. Are you all ready with your exercise book? Very good. Please be ready with your exercise book to note down something. Now, let us see the following examples. The first example, Ganga feeds the dogs. Okay, did you write this sentence in your exercise book? Very good. So now, dear student, please identify subject, verb and object in this sentence. Very good. This one is subject, this one is verb, and this one is object. Okay. What type of sentence is it? Can one of you guess it? Right. This is an active sentence. Now we are changing this sentence into passive one. Will you try it? Very good. Now, before changing active sentences into passive one, dear students, we must find out the verbs. Where is the verb? Yes, we have already mentioned this is a verb. Feeds. It is in S or ES structure, or we may say S or ES form. Dear students, when we are changing an active sentence into passive one, how they change into passive? Let's see the way. This is Ganga, subject. Here, feeds is a verb. Sometimes we may have root form of verb. Sometimes we may have S or ES form of the verb. When we have subject with root, sometimes S or ES form of the verb, with object, it changes into subject becomes what? Object, and object becomes what? Subject. Object with is, am, are with past participle with, by, again with subject. This is what a very simple idea. When we have very simple sentence. So now on the basis of this idea, change Ganga feeds the duck into active sentence. Will you try it? Good. According to the ideas, now the dogs becomes the subject of a passive sentence. Now we have feeds. It is with S or ES form of the verb. So when there is S or ES form of the verb, we must use what? Is, am, are. Now guess, what is appropriate here? The dogs are, the dogs is, the dogs am. Yes, you're right. The dogs are. Why? The dogs is plural. That's why are. Now, this is a verb. According to the ideas, it has to be changed with past participle form. And what is the past participle form of feeds? Yes, you're right. F-E-D, fed. The dogs are fed. Now, you can simply use by. What is the subject of an active sentence? Ganga. Now, it becomes passive. Did you understand? Dear students, we have known some ideas about active and passive. As I have given you an example of an active sentence and how it changes into passive one, and I believe you have written the ideas in your exercise book. See, Ganga feeds the duck. In this sentence, Ganga is a subject, feeds is a verb, it is with S or ES form of the verb. Sometimes we may have ES form of the verb, but here we have S forms of the verb. That's why feed become feeds. And the dogs here in the sentence is an object. The common or general rule of changing from active into passive, see, when subject with S or ES form of the verb with object, it changes into object with is, am, are. When there is singular, is and am is used. When there is plural form of subject, are is used. Okay. And past participle form of the verb. And we may use by. Sometimes when the subject is an optional, we may not use by. And when subject is not an optional, we may use by with subject. So that the passive sentence of Ganga feeds the dog, the dogs are fed by Ganga. Did you understand? And have you written the ideas in your exercise book? Very good. Now we have, dear students, we have a lot of examples related to active and passive. Here we go. B. Hari had beaten her. Hari had beaten her. Can you change this sentence into passive form? Will you try it? Where is the subject in this sentence? Hari. And had beaten is a verb. It is in past participle form of the verb. And her is an object here. But it is an objective case. It is not a subjective case. Now, when we are changing this active sentence into passive, now let us again write and then practice it. See, B. Dear student, this is an active sentence. How can we change this sentence into passive one? Let us practice now together. First of all, identify the subject, verb and object. This is subject, this is verb, and this is an object. But her is an object. Can we use her as a subject? No. And what can we use it? Her can be changed into she. So she is a subjective form of her. That's why she. This way. She had beaten. It is in past perfect tense. Past perfect tense, when there is had beaten, when we change the sentence into passive structure, she had been beaten by Hari. Dear students, Hari had beaten her. The passive sentence of Hari had beaten her is she had been beaten by Hari. Is that clear? Very good. In the similar way, dear students, we may have a lot of other examples as well. See, I have told you when the sentence is in subject with had plus past participle with object, changes into object with have, has, had, with, been, with past participle. That's why she had been beaten by Hari. Now, let me give you some more example for your self-practice. And at last, I will tell you the answer. Will you do it? They often help us. What is the passive structure of they often help us? Sure. We are often helped by them. Us, in this sentence, us is used as an object, but we cannot use this us as a subjective form. That's why, what is the subjective case of us? We. Often help. See, it is in root form of a verb help. That's why we require with are. This is plural subject, plural verb. Are often and help changes into helped by them. The structure object with is are with past participle form of the verb with by with subject. This is what the structure of passive sentence. I believe you might have learned the ideas in grade 8 and 9 earlier. Does she write a letter? We have another sentence and it is an interrogative sentence. As no interrogative. Does she write a letter? How this type of sentence changes into passive structure or passive form. See, is a letter written by her? When there is does, there must be sometimes is, sometimes am, sometimes are, sometimes was, sometimes were. When there is did, was, were can be used. So, what is an object of this sentence? Does she write a letter? Or letter is an object. So, that becomes what? Subject in passive structure. That's why is a letter written by her. When there is a do and does, we may use is, am, are. And when there is did, we must use was, were sometimes on the basis of the subject given in an active sentence. Okay. Similarly, had John killed the tigers? See, again an interrogative sentence and it starts with an auxiliary verb and it is in present perfect structure. Has John killed the tigers? can you change the sentence into passive form? Sure. Have, again, have the tigers. Why there is have? Did you understand? Yes, we have the tigers. Tigers is an object. What is our common rules? When there is an object of active sentence, it must be the subject of passive sentence. That's why the tigers, it is in plural form. That's why had changes into have. Have is a plural verb. We use have in a plural sentence. Have the tigers. This is an perfect, present perfect tense, and there must be been killed by John. Have as with object, with been, with past participle. Okay. F number, he loves people taking his photograph. See, he loves people taking his photograph. Change the sentence into passive. He loves having his photograph taken. He loves having his photograph taken. And then the structure is, if a thing, not a person, and if it comes with is liked, loved, hated, etc., we use having with past participle. Having with past participle, when there is thing, photograph is an object. It is not an animate things. It is an object. That's why we use having. We will be talking about the use of having and being later on as well. I hate people telephoning me early in the morning. What is the passive form of the sentence? I hate being telephoned. I hate being telephoned early in the morning. What did I say? When there is person, we use being. When there is an object, we use have or having. If a person, not a thing, is liked, loved, hated, etc., use being with past participle. We used being with past participle, and the past participle form of this telephoning is telephoned. That's why I hate being telephoned early in the morning is the passive structure of I hate people telephoning me early in the morning. Did you understand? Good. Now, someone lent her a dictionary for a week. Will you try? Of course. She was given a dictionary for a week, or a dictionary was given to her for a week. Both the answers are correct. Either a dictionary can be used as a subject of passive structure, or she, we can use she as a subject in the passive structure. That's why she was given a dictionary for a week. So what is the structure? Object with was were with past participle. Okay. And why we don't use a by plus someone? Someone is an optional subject of an active sentence. That's why we do not use by with someone. We may use, but this is optional. Okay. Good. She will look after the baby well. Future tense. She will look after the baby well. Object with will be with past participle form of the verb. Now what is the passive structure? The baby will be well looked after. When there is shall will with root form of verb, it changes into shall will be with past participle form of the verb. People say that elephants never forget. Now, it is with past participle with that clause. In this type of sentence, the structure of changing active sentence into passive one is it is with past participle with that clause. That elephants never forget. Now, can you change it? Sure. It is said that elephants never forget. It is past participle. The past participle form of say is said, and with that clause that elephants never forget. Very simple. When you say people say that elephants never forget, so it is with past participle of the verb and with that clause. I hate people telephoning me early in the morning. As I have already talked the same sentence, I hate being telephoned early in the morning. Don't make noise. Now, this is an imperative sentence. Don't make noise. Can you change this sentence into passive structure? Sure. Will you try it? Don't make noise. What is the structure of this sentence while changing from active into passive? Don't make a noise. See, okay. Done. This is what the sentence, don't make noise. What type of sentence is it? Of course, imperative sentence. Why? It begins with verb and it has some what? Command, suggestion, order. Now, how can we change this active sentence into passive? See, let noise not be made. Let noise not be made. Or we can say don't make a noise. When there is a noise, let a noise not be made also can be used. So what is the structure? Let with object with not with be with past participle form of the verb. See, let with object with not with be with past participle. That's why a noise is an object, let a noise. This is a negative sentence, that's why we use not, and according to the structure be we have to use and make changes into made in passive. Did you understand? Okay, now people say that he is a criminal. You know it, it is said that he is a criminal. He is said to be criminal, can also be said. I have already discussed about the rules of this sentence. It is with past participle with that clause. When the sentence comes with people say that he is a criminal and it changes into it is with past participle with that clause. Do people speak English all over the world? This is an active sentence. We have already discussed about this type of sentence already. When a sentence begins with do, does, there must be is, am, are. That's why is English is spoken all over the world. I think you might have understood the structure of passive. Close the door. Very simple. Again, close the door. Imperative sentence, but it is an affirmative one. When there is affirmative, there must not be used not. Let the door be closed. Let with object with be with past participle. So when we have an imperative sentence and in an imperative sentence we must use let in passive. Help the poor, but let the poor be helped not. This is an obligation. The poor should be helped. See, when there is obligatory issue, we must use the poor should be helped. Now grammar first. Complete the following sentences with the correct passive forms of the verbs. Now we have already discussed Ganga feeds the dog. The dogs, what is the right answer? Are fed. Absolutely you're right. B. I have given you the structure. Subject with root form of verb. Sometimes verb, root form of verb, sometimes S or ES form of the verb. It changes into is, am, are with past participle form of the verb. By Ganga. Okay. The dogs are fed by Ganga. The police catch a lot of criminals in London. We have already done. A lot of criminals are caught in London. They often help us. We have discussed we are often helped by them. Similarly, they don't rent cars there. Are you with your textbook and exercise book? So if you have your textbook, these examples are given. Cards are not rented by them dear. Do you turn the laptop on first? What is the passive structure of this sentence? The laptop, is the laptop turned on first? Yeah, when the sentence begins with do and does, there must be is, am, are. Somebody follows me home every morning. Every morning I am followed home. We usually leave a saucer of milk for the cat. A saucer of milk is left for the cat. I like journalists following me on the way. I like being followed on the way. I loathe people pulling my hair. I loathe being pulled my hair. Very simple one. When there is continuous or ing form of the verb, we must use being with past participle. Okay. Asmita adores teachers checking her notebooks. Asmita adores having her notebooks checked. When do we use having? When there is an object, right? When there is an object, we use having. When there is a person, we use being. Denivia does not mind anyone mocking at him. Denivia does not mind being mocked at. B. Change the following sentences into passive voice. I believe, dear students, you might have done yourself, and so that I may go very quickly. The gardener waters the flowers every day. What is the passive form of the sentence? Yes, the flowers are watered by the gardener every day. Here I have given you the structure, object with is/am/are with past participle. People see foxes in their gardens at night. The passive structure, foxes are seen in the garden at night. We expect students not to talk during examination. Students are not expected to talk during examination. Rivers of fresh water form this lake. This lake is formed by rivers of fresh water. Very simple type of sentences. It's not, you don't have to be confused here. E. National parks attract many domestic and foreign tourists. The passive form of this sentence is many domestic and foreign tourists are attracted by national parks. They promise him higher wages. What is the passive sentence of this active one? He is promised higher wages. So why we use he? Him cannot be used as a subjective form of a sentence. That's why him changes it into he. Promise, it is a root form of verb. When there is a root form of verb, there must be is/am/are with past participle, and others are not changed. Does Biraj always beat Balgopal? Again, there is an as-no interrogative sentence, and it starts with does. When there is do and does, is/am/are. When there is plural, are. When there is singular, is. Balgopal is a singular. That's why is Balgopal always beaten by Biraj. Is/am/are was where with object with past participle. Nobody knows the secret. See, the secret is not none. This is the passive sentence, and nobody is a negative word. That's why the secret is not known. They are sure to help the helpless. The helpless are sure to be helped. When the sentence comes with sure to, there must be sure to be with past participle. That's why the helpless are sure to be helped. Scientists have to discover a more effective vaccine for COVID-19. Yes, a more effective vaccine for COVID-19 has to be discovered. When a sentence comes with object, with, have, has, had, to, with, be, with past participle. This is what the structure of passive. What do they prefer to eat? WH interrogative sentence. When there is WH interrogative sentence, what is preferred to eat by them? WH word with auxiliary verb with past participle. WH word what is auxiliary verb, past participle preferred to eat by them. This is an object. If you simply remember the structure and the examples, you know it very well. Sources say most people in the region are still illiterate. It is said that most people in the regions are still illiterate. Grammar 2. Study the following short conversation and observe how being or having is used. Conversation. Look at this conversation between Sushil, Punya and Siddhartha. How do you feel if someone praises you? Punya says, I like people praising me. How about you? Siddhartha, well, I don't mind being praised. As I have said, when there is a person, being is used. When there is an object, having is used. Make sure. Conversation 2 also, you can just read it out and then collect some ideas. Now, when there is feeling and person, being is used. When there is things, having is used. Subject with verb, with being or having, with object, with past participle. This is what the structure of using being and having. I don't like having my photographs taken. I don't like having my photographs taken, but I adore having my photographs taken. This is what. Now, change the following sentences with passive voice using being or having. I believe you do it yourself. Will you do it? I'll do one for you. Pooja hates people shouting at her in the street. Using having and being. Pooja hates being. Why? Why there is being? Pooja is a person. When there is a person, we use being. Pooja hates being shouted. Shouting changes into past participle. And the remaining other words are not changed in passive. Are you with me, student? Good. The remaining questions and answer you may write if you want. Okay. Now, D, E, F, you may have a practice at home. All right. Now, change the following sentences into active voice. This is what we are going to change the following sentences into active. Very simple. If we know the ideas about passive, we may change the sentences into passive as well and active as well. A lot of books are stored online by various sites. Various sites store a lot of books online. See, are store changes into store. And see, a lot of books, it is a subject of a passive sentence, it becomes, see, object of active sentence. So, various sites, it is an object of passive sentence, it becomes subject of active sentence. Various sites store a lot of books online. Similarly, in this way, you may change the remaining sentences into active one. If you know the ideas about passive, you know, and you can change the sentences into active very easily. She loves having her clothes praised. She loves people praising her clothes. Dear students, you may change the other sentences and write the correct answers from passive into active. This road is not very often used. People do not use this road very often. Ajima is never punished by teachers. Teachers never punish Ajima. Many accidents are caused by speeding. Speeding causes many accidents. Now, in this way, we change active sentence into passive and passive sentences into active one. Dear students, I have given you so many ideas, and together with ideas, you have collected the rules or the structure of changing active and passive. I believe you understood well. If you practice more and more changing the active sentences into passive, you are more confident of changing active and passive and active both. So I request you to practice more and more sentences at home and get a lot of confidence about active and passive. Okay. So till then, see you in the next class. Namaste and goodbye.